In this lecture, you will learn how to record transactions pertaining to services availed from a GTA. So what's a GTA? GTA is a transporter who provides services in relation of transporting goods from one location to another location. In short, a GTA means a transporter who provides transportation services. Now the question that arises, are all transporters are considered to be GTA? The answer is no. So who are GTA among transporters? So GTA are those transport businesses who issues a consignment note. So any transporter issuing consignment notes can be called as a GTA. So what is a consignment note? A consignment note is issued by a transporter containing details like name of the supplier, name of the buyer and their respective GST numbers, and details about goods that are being shipped and amount charged along with the GST details. It also mentioned details like who has to pay GST, whether the buyer or the seller or GTA itself. So who has to pay GST will be discussed in a short while, and all these documents must be serially numbered in order to be called as consignment note. So whoever transporter, when it issues a consignment note, then that transporter can be considered as a GTA. And what it also means is that if a consignment note is not issued, then the service availed from a transporter doesn't fall under the ambit of GTA. So whenever you avail services from a transporter, then make sure whether it is a GTA or a non-GTA, and look whether the consignment note, which can also be referred as LR copy or by any other name in your region, and try to find out the details which must be present on a consignment note. And if at all those details are present, then that copy of LR is treated as consignment note. So the name of the document could be consignment note itself, or it may be written as LR copy or BILT in some regions. I recommend you to find out more about consignment note and any details which must be specified on it. I just mentioned all these details so that you can have some basic idea about what GTA is, what consignment note is. Alright, so now let's discuss about this example transaction which is on your screen. In this transaction, we paid rupees 3000 towards transportation services from Garuda Carriers, which happens to be a GTA. And availing service from GTA falls under the concept of reverse charge mechanism. So now when you avail services from a GTA, you are either required to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism if GTA charges GST at the rate 5%, and it also needs to mention that the recipient has to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. So if your consignment note specifies that the recipient of service has to pay GST under reverse charge, in that case 5% of GST must be paid under reverse charge mechanism. Or GTA also has an option to charge GST at 12%. So along with the taxable amount, if GTA is charging GST at 12%, in that case reverse charge mechanism won't be applied. You need to pay complete taxable amount along with GST to the GTA, and GTA will deposit GST to the government. In short, when GTA opts for 5% tax rate, then you need to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism, and in that case you need to pay GST at 5% in cash, and you would be then getting the input tax credit for the same. And if you are paying GST at 12%, then as usual, like with other transactions, you can get input tax credit by default. Now one important part which needs to be discussed is about who needs to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. So in the consignment note, it will be written that the recipient of service is liable to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. So who is the recipient? So if transportation charge is paid by supplier, which is paid transportation, then supplier is treated as recipient and he has to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. If the receiver of the goods, that is the buyer, is required to pay transportation charges, then the buyer is treated as recipient. Sometimes the recipient of service could be an unregistered dealer or a normal person who doesn't hold any business and has availed transportation service to transport his household items or any personal belongings. So in that case, it is the liability of GTA to pay GST to the government. So these were some basics that you were required to know about GTA, and if you further want to learn more about GTA, then I recommend you to explore regarding it. There are a lot of valuable resources online which contains a deeper discussion on GTA, and this course is related to Tally, so a deeper discussion on GTA is out of the scope of this course. Now moving further, we will record this transaction which is related to goods transport agency, where we have availed transportation services for rupees 3000 and the GTA has charged GST at 5%, so we are required to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. And whenever we come across transactions related to reverse charge mechanism, we need to record multiple entries. So what I mean by multiple entries is we are required to record the following entries. So first we need to enter purchase entry for availing transportation services, and then you need to pass an entry to increase your liability to pay tax to the government, and then you need to record the payment entry of tax to the government, and then you need to pass an entry to increase your input tax credit. And in order to assist with these entries, we need to create the following ledgers. Although it is not required, but I am creating separate CGST and SGST ledgers to record taxes paid under reverse charge mechanism. Then I will create a ledger called tax paid on reverse charge mechanism, which will be grouped under current assets. So why I am grouping it under current asset is because all kind of input tax credit are asset to the business because it holds value. So that is why I am grouping this ledger under current asset to denote increase in asset called input tax credit. And in order to record transport expense, I will create a ledger called transportation services under indirect expense and transporters ledger, who is the supplier. So it will be grouped under sundry creditor. Alright, so we are done with the theory part. In the next video, I will show you how to record this entry in Tally.